The first item on the agenda is announcements and amendments to the agenda. I know of two. So the first amendment is that, due to the superintendent's request, we will be holding, the evaluation of treatment of staff in executive session. However, I would like to remind everybody that during public comment period, which is next, you're allowed to talk about any topic. And so we are not cutting off public comment on that topic. And then the other, announcement is that I was requested by some members of the board to, repeat the votes on the performance pay in public. And so, would you like to go around and say how you voted on performance pay? Or I can repeat it. Okay. Emily, how did you vote on performance pay?
No.
Tim, how did you vote? Yes. Dan?
No.
Laura?
Yes.
Chelsea?
Yes.
I voted yes. Jen?
No.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other amendments or announcements? All right, hearing none, we will now transition to public comment. According to our current guidelines for public comment, please state your name and your town of residence. Comment should be kept to 2 to 3 minutes. They should be respectful and civil. They should be directed at me. And the board is not going to interact with the public during the public comment section. So if there's anybody in the room, please do come out there.
Hi, I'm Noah Everett. I live in Heinsberg. I'm a co-president of the South Burlington Educators Association.
And I'm Beth Adrian, co-president of the South Burlington Educators Association, and I live in Virgins.
It is a little tricky to prepare for something and then have a change like this. But acknowledging that, I really want to point your attention to the people who come to hear about how they're being treated. And to do so, in the first, in my experience, behind closed doors, send a direct message about our value and the value of our opinions. So, we hope that you think thoughtfully about us as we head into summer, because we're going to be thinking thoughtfully about our role in this district as we head into next year. Thanks.
Forget every time. Okay. Hi, I'm Clarissa Gold. I'm a science teacher at the high school. I'm here to advocate for the reinstation of the high school guidance counselor FTE. And for you to allow the employment of my colleague Akilas Lakosu to continue, because his presence at the high school is invaluable. And we cannot claim that we are meeting our ends if we do not have people in our building who reflect the lived experience of our ever diversifying population.
Need to hear from anybody else.
Never done this before, so it's a little scary. My name is Amelia Lutz. I teach science at Tuttle Middle School. I hope that the board carefully considers the input on the policy compliance that the SBEA leadership and members have put together based on how we've been treated in a variety of ends policies. Because there's been a carefully cultivated document that gives a lot of evidence and support of staff and faculty perspective. So I just hope you carefully look at that and consider. Thank you. And did I say I live in Bristol?
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jen Berkman. I am also new to this whole process, so it is second for a very scary thing to do, but I'm gonna go up. I'm a South Burlington resident, parent of a current SB student and a graduate, and I'm also an interventionist at the high school, second year. I want to talk a little bit about how you pay and retain staff, especially paraeducators who are often not visible and behind the scenes doing lots of great work to support the teachers. I know that the negotiations are a separate process, but it's came to my attention that paraeducators are often, because we can't retain them, hired by contractors. And when the paraeducators come to school, they often get paid more than we do. Yet we have lots more skills, experience than we do, and are often called to support people who are getting paid more than us. So that is, I know that's the reason why we can't retain our paraeducators. South Burlington is a great school to grow in. I've had my kids there and we like it, but are really disappointed in seeing the changes and the stress that it makes on families. And my kids come home stressed that the classes that they want aren't gonna be there. And I come home stressed that the pay that I get isn't enough or valued because of using contractors to come in and provide support for all of our kids. Thank you.
I'm Lauren Bartlett. I live in Grand Isle. I teach at the middle school. It has been mentioned to me, that it's, has been thought that possibly the interests of all of us are not represented by Noah and Beth. And I want you to know that, the SBA EA stands together. And that, and Noah and Beth do represent the SBEA. And you might look at this crowd of people and think, well, where's everybody else? And think that they are not supported. I look at that the other way around. The people that are not here trust Noah and Beth to be speaking for us.
Good evening. My name is Zach Poland. I am one of the school counselors at South Burlington High School. And I think I just wanted to come up to say tonight, to both the board director and all of the school board members, to keep in mind that you're all examples and role models for students in our district and young people who are learning and looking to you all to do what you believe is the right thing to do, whatever that means in your individual moment and whatever that topic is that's at hand. Is that I believe we all have a spectrum of what we know the right thing to do is. And it might not always be the easy thing. Oftentimes it's actually a really hard thing to do. But whatever that means for you all, I just encourage you to think about the impact that you're having on students in the roles that you have. And you have 2 students that are seeing the examples that you're setting every meeting that you all have. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Judith Fallon. I'm a teacher at Berkshire School. I think you've noticed that a lot of the comments tonight weren't planned. And that's because most of us are here because we were hoping to hear the discussion of the monitoring report tonight. So to find out that it's happening behind closed doors is really disappointing. And an explanation as to why would be really helpful and powerful. So I'll just leave that as an invitation. Hi there, Samantha Ayers. I live in South Burlington. I have one kiddo in the middle school and one kiddo in Chamberlain, and I also work at Chamberlain. I was not planning on speaking either, but I think it's really important to highlight that while it's not that surprising, but it is very disappointing that there is a decision to hold these comments behind closed doors. And I think it just highlights what we have been saying for the last year. It highlights what came up in the listening tour and what came up in the survey, that there is a very big lack of transparency and accountability in this district right now. And yeah, I would love to hear as to why this decision was made, because it's very disappointing, but kind of on par. Yeah. Hi there. I've never done this before, so also nervous. Naming Max, it helps me like be less nervous. I'm Katie Mahoney. I use they them pronouns. I live in Essex. I work at the high school as a special educator. Also was not planning to speak, but just felt like calling attention to what I think many of us have been observing, which feels just like a lack of recognition of sometimes the humanity of the people behind these surveys. And I just want to remind you that like we are people, and a lot of this has been done through data because we work in a system of data, and data is important, but I also think that like recognition of humanity is really important. And it feels really difficult to want to show up for something, to listen and hear about my experience and the experience of people I work with, to then have that be changed in a last minute manner. And it, you know, I do think that further explanation, it would be helpful, given that I think a lot of us are in a position of feeling unheard and like just let down, with where this went. And yeah, thanks.
My name is Lindsay Hudson. I am a school counselor at the high school. I live in Colchester. And as I've said goodbye to my dear colleague and friend Akilis Kosu over the last couple of days, and over the last couple of weeks, witnessed students, one after the other, after the other, after the other, come into our school counseling office to seek him out, to say goodbye, and share the impact that he has made on them. I am moved to come up here tonight and speak about the ongoing harm that was caused and has not been resolved, regardless of a statement of exoneration about the discrimination that he experienced as a Black man, as an employee in South Burlington School District. An email was sent by Superintendent Nichols naming her exoneration and talking about all voices next year, and it does not address the impact and the harm that was caused to this Black employee. And I want to name that Ryan Navin, our social studies department chair, wrote a very thoughtful response in which naming the anti-racist work that we are doing as employees, that we work to support our students in doing and reflecting on, and the large discrepancy between that which we expect and model for our students and what was displayed by our district leader.
One more comment from this, in-person meeting, and then we have one comment online, I think. Is there anybody else in the room? Okay, thank you. Well, can you switch it to the Oh, we have two online. We have two online, so we'll take both of them. Start with Brian.
Yes, my name is Brian Companion. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Procedurally, I thought that to go to executive session, a motion had to be made and it had to be voted upon by the members. Have you made a motion? I just heard, maybe I missed part of the first part of the meeting, but it sounded like it was, we decided to go in. And according to Vermont statutes, which I'm looking at, it talks about a motion being made stating the exact reason why, that it falls within those guidelines of executive session, and then a vote is taken. So my question would be, was a vote taken?
And we don't respond to public comment.
Okay, you don't respond, but you could be violating the open meeting law right now.
Sure, we can go on. And could we switch? Thank you, Brian. And could
You're
we go to
welcome.
Mark?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is Mark Gable. I was not able to get there this afternoon. I had every intention of coming. I apologize. I think the turnout for a summer afternoon when a lot of union members are working summer jobs or have other prior commitments, or some of them might be lucky enough to be traveling. That's a pretty darn good turnout that you're looking at there. And so there's some strong opinions in the room. I'd like to echo the complete lack of transparency by holding this meeting behind closed doors. And I'm glad that Brian spoke before I did, because I think what he said absolutely resonates with open meeting law. And you need to reconsider the fact that you're holding this behind closed doors without at least making a roll call vote right there in public. I was really hoping for better with the new school board members. Thank you.
All right, I think that's everybody for now. So we'll move to the next agenda item, action item, monitoring report 2.2, treatment of staff. And this is the point at which we, as Brian correctly stated, go into executive session after a vote. And stating the reasons. Okay.
And I believe this.
Right. It's the, oh, yeah. Appointment, employment evaluation of public officer employee. So do I have a motion to enter executive session for the purpose of discussing the evaluation of the superintendent under provisions of Title I, Section 313A3 of Vermont statutes, evaluation of the public officer or employee? Do I have a second? I'll second. Thank you. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. I think we'll go to a roll call vote. We'll start with Jen. I guess, wait, I messed one thing up. I have discussion before the vote, right? Let's have discussion before the vote.
Okay.
So, does anybody, so.
Is there a particular reason this is being moved to executive session?
There was a request from the superintendent to move into executive session. And I believe that it is in the best interests of the district to, perform our duty to monitor 2.2 treatment of staff without delay. And I don't view that the interests of the district will be harmed by doing that in executive session. Any further discussion? Okay, then we'll start with a voice vote. All those in favor of moving to executive session, say aye. Aye. Okay, we'll move to a roll call vote. Jen,
I'll start by saying under protest. Aye.
okay, we can go the other direction. Dan,
No.
No. I would say under protest.
the motion passes. And then what's the balls?
So should we do a roll call vote? Everyone to vote?
Yes, everybody, Emily said yes, Tim said yes, Dan said no. Laura said no. You said yes, I said yes, Jen said yes.
So your motion was to move into executive session, not to do so with the district at a disadvantage. So we sort of did it all in one.
Okay,
And then I would usually notify like who's going to be in executive session. And if I second.
okay. So for the executive session, we expect to have all the board members, superintendent, and I believe a couple of the superintendent's staff who would normally present the monitoring report. Okay. So we're now gonna move into closed executive session in the conference room downstairs. So you can stay here. We will return to regular session after this. Thank you. Engage, yes. No discussion. This,
No, do we have that?
I think-
Invited that. But it was informal.
session back in order. All the session, the public session of the June 18th, 2025 school board meeting back into order. And we are going to monitor treatment of staff 2.2. And I will go through each of the detail policies and also the overall policy. And I will ask each board member, reasonable interpretation, adequate data, in compliance, compliance plan, acceptable. So are all the board members ready to vote on that matrix? Okay, so we're gonna start with detail policy 1, operate without written personnel rules that so this is a limitation, so with respect to the sorry, let me start over. I'm gonna start by reading the overall, but I'm not gonna ask you to vote on that until we've voted on all the other ones. So with respect to the treatment of paid and volunteer staff, the superintendent shall not cause or allow conditions that are untimely, unfair, undignified, disorganized, or vague. 1, operate without written personnel rules that clarify and define rules, rights, and responsibilities and evaluation for staff, provide for effective handling of grievances, and protect against wrongful conditions such as nepotism and grossly preferential treatment for personnel reasons. Start with you, Jen. Reasonable interpretation.
No.
Okay. Adequate data.
No.
In compliance.
No.
compliance plan acceptable.
For that, no.
All right, then we'll move on to Emily. Emily, reasonable interpretation,
No,
adequate data,
no,
in compliance.
no,
Compliance plan acceptable.
No.
Good point. Okay, Tim, reasonable interpretation. Yes. Adequate data. Yes. In compliance. Yes. Compliance plan acceptable. Yes. Not. Right, so I'm just qualifying it. Dan, reasonable interpretation,
No,
adequate data,
no,
in compliance.
no,
Compliance plan acceptable, no. Okay, Laura, reasonable interpretation,
no,
adequate data,
no,
in compliance,
no,
compliance plan acceptable, no. Okay, me, or Chelsea, reasonable interpretation. Adequate data, in compliance, compliance plan acceptable, doesn't matter, okay. For me, reasonable, yes, adequate, yes, in compliance, yes. Okay, detail policy 2, discriminate against any staff member for non-disruptive expression of dissent. Reasonable interpretation, Jen,
No.
okay, adequate data,
No,
in compliance,
no,
there was no compliance plan, Emily. Reasonable interpretation,
no,
adequate data,
no,
in compliance,
no,
all right, Tim. Reasonable interpretation, yes. Adequate data, yes. In compliance, yes. Compliance plan, Dan. Reasonable interpretation,
no,
inadequate data,
no,
in compliance,
no.
okay, Laura, reasonable interpretation,
you know, I don't think I have enough information.
okay,
Might be nervous.
adequate data,
No, I'm just gonna,
abstain,
I'm gonna abstain, yep,
in compliance
abstain.
on all of, okay. Chelsea, in compliance, or I'm sorry, reasonable interpretation. Adequate data. In compliance. Okay, now, fail to appoint staff with protections, oh, I have to go me, so I'm discriminating against any staff member for non-disruptive expression of dissent. In reasonable interpretation, yes, adequate data, yes, in compliance, yes. Next, Jen, fail to appoint staff with their protections under this policy, reasonable interpretation,
yes,
adequate data,
no,
in compliance.
no,
Compliance plan, Emily, reasonable interpretation,
No,
adequate data,
no,
in compliance,
no,
all right, Tim. Reasonable interpretation, yes. Adequate data, yes. In compliance, yes. Compliant, or no, compliance plan, Dan, reasonable interpretation,
Yes.
adequate data. In compliance,
No,
okay, Laura. Reasonable interpretation,
yes,
adequate data,
yes,
in compliance,
yes,
okay. Chelsea, reasonable interpretation, adequate data, in compliance. Okay, me, so failed to appoint staff, reasonable interpretation, yes, adequate data, yes, compliance, yes. Allow staff to be unprepared to deal with emergency situations, Jen, reasonable interpretation,
yes,
adequate data,
yes,
in compliance.
yes,
All right, Emily, reasonable interpretation.
No.
Adequate data,
no,
in compliance,
no,
okay, Tim, reasonable interpretation, yes. Adequate data, yes. in compliance?
Yes.
All right, Dan, reasonable interpretation,
Yes,
adequate data,
yes,
in compliance?
yes,
Okay, Laura, reasonable interpretation,
Yes.
adequate data,
Yes.
in compliance?
Yes.
Okay. Chelsea, reasonable interpretation, adequate data, in compliance? Okay, for me, reasonable interpretation, yes, adequate data, yes. In compliance, yes. Okay, so fail to create a positive organizational climate conducive to the achievement of the ends. Jen, reasonable interpretation,
No, no,
adequate data,
no,
in compliance,
no.
Emily. Oh, there's a compliance, is the compliance plan, acceptable? Oh, ask Jen.
No.
Emily, reasonable interpretation?
Yeah.
Adequate data?
Yeah.
In compliance?
No.
Compliance plan acceptable?
No.
Okay, Tim. Reasonable interpretation?
Yes.
Adequate data?
Yes.
In compliance?
No.
Compliance plan acceptable?
Yes.
Okay. Dan, reasonable interpretation?
no,
Adequate data?
yes,
In compliance? Compliance plan acceptable?
no,
And Laura, reasonable interpretation?
Yes.
Adequate data?
No.
In compliance?
No.
And compliance plan acceptable?
No.
Okay. Chelsea, reasonable interpretation? Adequate data? In compliance? Compliance plan acceptable? Okay, me, reasonable interpretation, yes, adequate data, yes, in compliance, no. Compliance plan acceptable, no. Reasonable interpretation, or sorry. 6, neglect to provide meaningful and timely performance evaluations to administrators, teachers, and staff. Reasonable interpretation, Jen,
Yes.
adequate data? In compliance?
No.
Compliance plan acceptable?
No.
I guess we don't have a compliance plan.
Oh,
Yeah, okay, Emily, reasonable interpretation,
yes.
adequate data,
No.
in compliance.
No.
Tim, reasonable interpretation,
Yes.
adequate data,
Yes.
in compliance.
Yes.
Okay, Dan, reasonable interpretation,
yes,
adequate data. In compliance,
no,
compliance plan acceptable, or sorry, Laura, reasonable interpretation,
Yes.
adequate data,
Yes.
in compliance.
Yes.
It's fine, take your time.
This is so hard.
No rush.
What does that know?
Chelsea, neglect, or sorry, reasonable interpretation. Yes. Adequate data. In compliance. Okay, and that's it. So for me, reasonable interpretation. Not sure about that. I think I'm gonna abstain on that one. Adequate data, I would say no. In compliance, I would say no. Okay, and then. On the whole overall, we're gonna take a vote on that. So this is the, with respect to the treatment of paid and volunteer staff, the superintendent shall not cause or allow conditions that are untimely, unfair, undignified, disorganized, or vague. In taking into account all of the other detailed policies, we'll go again. Jen, reasonable interpretation
Of the policy?
of the overall,
No.
adequate data,
No.
compliance.
No.
All right, and then Emily. Reasonable interpretation,
No.
adequate data,
No.
in compliance.
No.
Okay, Tim, reasonable interpretation,
Yes.
adequate data,
Yes.
in compliance,
Yes.
okay, Dan, reasonable interpretation,
No,
adequate data,
no,
in compliance,
no.
Laura, reasonable interpretation,
Yes.
adequate data,
No.
in compliance,
No.
okay, Chelsea, reasonable interpretation. Adequate data. In compliance. And then me, reasonable interpretation, I would say yes. Adequate data, yes, in compliance, no. And is there any other?
There's one more question that you have to ask. The board has to take action on this report. So I'm not sure how you would categorize. I would think you need to tally up and determine. We've definitely monitored the report and you can take action to that extent. Whether or not the report or whether or not the superintendent will be found in compliance is, I think, reflective of these votes.
Should we, to clarify, should we take a vote and say compliance, not compliance?
Well, we just did that. That's like what this process is.
So you don't want to, no,
So-
sorry.
I think the board needs to take action that we have monitored the report and then the findings of that monitoring, I think, are dictated by all of the votes here.
Okay, so, should I entertain a motion that the board has taken action on this monitoring report?
Board has monitored to. I think at that level is the action that we are taking. I have never had a monitoring report look like this, and I would want a lawyer to weigh in on whether or not the board found the superintendent in compliance or not.
Okay, so I think we should, clarify. I think we should clarify, our belief about. So I would entertain a motion to find the superintendent in compliance with the monitoring report. And then there will be no ambiguity. If this motion passes, then the sense of the board is saying we find her in compliance, and if it fails, we're saying we do not find her in compliance, which also is reflected here.
I guess I thought that's what we were just voting on.
That's what I thought the last.
So we're
Was the overall-
happy with so what I'm concerned about is that, you could take this two ways. If 50% of these detailed policies are held to be in compliance, then somebody could argue, well, you just found compliance. But I think that the spirit of the room may be that even though some of these less important detail policies, depending on what's opinion, are in compliance, the most important ones are not in compliance, and I just don't want to leave it ambiguous what we feel on that point.
That's the point I would want to lawyer to weigh in on. Because what the board does in the spirit is not in policy. And I don't want to see the board taking action that we would later not understand the ramifications of.
Just look at so.
I'll go tally that up right now. but it's-
Well, it depends how you tally it up. If you tally it up according to, the overalls, I think that it's non-compliant. I guess we can check to see if you tally it up on the,
And that's what the last question was. It was based on each person's, my opinion, each person's interpretation of the overall policy.
right, and that in compliance, would then fail, so not in compliance, 5-2. So I think that we should be on record saying that if there's any, ambiguity, we are finding the superintendent not in compliant of monitoring report 2.2 treatment of staff. Given the votes that we have here.
of 5 not in compliant, 2 in compliance.
And I would just say, I mean, I'm happy to summarize the deficiencies that I see when I reviewed everything and provide that.
I think that would be
Yeah,
out of order right now,
oh,
but
no, right, out of order. I wouldn't do it right now. I'm just
Right.
saying I would definitely be willing to summarize
yes,
that.
and we would, okay, all right, so. Can we move on from the action item without asking for a,
Just say what you just said you found, so you would say, you would say the board has found that the superintendent is out of compliance with 2.2 treatment of staff, given a 5 to 2 over.
so on an item 4, action items, monitor report 2.2 treatment of staff. The board has found that the superintendent is not in compliance with treatment of staff in a 5 to 2 vote. And now we can move on from that, right? Okay, and then, now we'll move on to adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Sure. Any second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay.
I would just say our next meeting is July 9th.
Next meeting, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Then the June 18th, 2025 special meeting of the South Burlington School Board meeting is adjourned.